We are back, and the season rolls along to week 3. Another full weekend of college football lies ahead, and we finally have some big games this weekend. We only have 2 segments again today, but we're kicking it off with our OG segment, Pick 6, in which we preview the 6 of the biggest games of the upcoming weekend. And we're going to wrap it up by talking about the most recent announcement from the Big 10 today about the upcoming college football season. Like I said, only 2 segments, but I promise you this is a full show, so let's go ahead and kick it off. So Pick 6 is back. Listen, this is by far one of my favorite segments. It was the very first segment we had on the Bluebloods, and we have a full weekend of college football, a huge weekend in our first ranked matchup of the 2020 season in Louisville, Kentucky. Game day is going to be there. Brandon and I are going to pick the 6 biggest and best games of the 2020 season. We're going to break them down, make our predictions. So let's get to it, beat up, and start off with our pick for the Big 12 championship in the Oklahoma State Cowboys, and they're going to go ahead and take on the Tulsa Golden Hurricanes. What's your pick here? What are you most looking forward to in this game?
So, look, I know that we had to cover this game because Oklahoma State's playing, but did we really? Because they're going to be playing against Tulsa. I get it. It's in state. Is it really a rivalry? Probably. You know what? It's probably one of those games that's a big rivalry for Tulsa, and then Oklahoma State's like, oh yeah, I forgot they do exist. That's a real university in the same state that we're in. Actually, a bigger city than we're in as well. But no, I mean, this is going to be a massacre, right? Oklahoma State has to. I mean, they have to win this game, because if they don't win this game, then Zach and I lose all credentials that we've ever gotten, which isn't a lot, but we would lose a little bit at least.
Listen, if Oklahoma State loses this game and y'all can't find the podcast Monday, just know that it's gone. It's all good. We wrapped it up. We packed up. We're headed somewhere else. We're going to start an NBA podcast or something. But like Brandon said, we covered this game because this was our pick for the Big 12 champion. They're finally going to take the field. Chuba Hubbard, Spencer Sanders. They're ready to make a statement, ready to move on from what would you say, Brandon? A controversial offseason, to say the least.
Yeah.
And I think the biggest storyline this weekend is, how does Spencer Sanders look, Brandon? I mean, is he going to be more consistent in the pocket, show composure under pressure? Is he going to be able to push the ball down the field without risking big turnovers? These are all things that hurt Sanders, and he has to improve on these things if they are actually going to compete for a playoff spot like me and Brandon are predicting here. And, Brandon, I think an underlying storyline, I think one that only a few people are going to be really watching, is, how does Tylan Wallace look after a season-ending leg injury last year? Not everyone always recovers and comes back 100%, but I think he's going to be able to eat this week against the Tulsa secondary. They rank as one of the worst secondaries in the AAC according to Pro Football Focus, and I think Tulsa is going to be a perfect tune-up for the Cowboys here, because they're not really great at anything, Brandon. I mean, you said this is going to be a massacre. Brandon, they rank outside the top 70 in every positional unit coming into the season. Every single one.
They look really bad. And they're they're playing an Oklahoma State team that I think has just gotten exponentially better from last season, which is saying a lot, because they looked really good last season. You know what? They even looked really good last season in this matchup. You know, they played last September as well. Oklahoma State ended up winning that game 40-21. You know, the spread this year is 20. I think it's 23.5 points, Oklahoma State.
22 and a half. 22.
Now, where are you getting that information from, Zach? Because everyone knows that Zach loves to give us fake spreads.
Okay. No, it's not fake. So I figured out my problem. So on the little spread thing at ESPN, there's the spread, and then there's the popular bet. It's like where most of the money's going. And so it's always either just above or just below the spread. So this time I realized that we got the correct spread here.
I don't think you do, because I'm looking at Odd Shark right now. We got 23.5, and
okay,
I just don't trust ESPN.
Hang on, time out. I also took notes 2.5, 3 hours ago when I wrote down these spreads, so things definitely could have changed.
That's your problem, Zach. You take notes. If you take notes, then you're not up to date. See, I'm a real journalist, and you think I want to do this, Zach? You think I want to wait until last second to do any kind of research? Maybe, but also I'm trying to get the most up to date because I up to date information because I care about our listeners. I want them to be successful if they choose to gamble. I don't, but if they want to gamble, then I want them to be successful.
Hey, Brandon's looking out for you guys. I'm trying to give you accurate info. Brandon's trying to make you money. I'm sure you're going to pick the latter on that one. But, not everything's bad for Tulsa. We have Xavier Collins at linebacker, Jackson Player on the defensive line. They're going to lead the way in trying to stop Hubbard, put some pressure on Spencer Sanders here. Jackson Player actually ranked first in the entire country in run defense grade last year, Brandon, for all players. So that's pretty stout, but I don't think one defensive lineman can stop Chuba Hubbard. I think in last year, one of Chuba Hubbard's big highlights was against Tulsa. And one of the runs, he just broke open. He dominated last year. And listen, I think Oklahoma State has way too much firepower for Tulsa. I think this team's been itching to step on the field ever since, this rough offseason started. And this poor Golden Hurricanes team is going to be the first victim. This is the first year we've been doing scores. I've been putting in a little bit of thought here. I have Oklahoma State winning 41-10 over Tulsa this weekend.
I'll go a little bit less than that. I don't think that Oklahoma State covers the spread, but I don't think that they're far off from it. I'm going Oklahoma State 38, Tulsa 17.
Not bad. I'll take it. But we're going to move on here. A game that I'm actually kind of excited to watch, and it is Syracuse at number 25 Pitt. And last time I looked, it could have changed in the past 3 hours. It is a 22-point spread for Pitt right now, Brandon. So your thoughts on this game?
There's not a lot. I mean, we saw both these teams play last week. We saw Syracuse go out and, in my opinion, look pretty awful. And Pitt came out. I understand they played Austin Peay, but they looked really good. I mean, everything was just clicking for the Panthers last weekend. Personally, I mean, I've got Pitt in this game. I don't think that's too big of a shocker for anybody. Well, you know what? I say that's not too big of a shocker for anybody, but now that I'm looking at the odds, it looks like 59% of the money's going on Syracuse money line, which means people think Syracuse is going to win. That's insane. An update, but for an updated spread for anybody who cares, this is going to be Pitt is a 21.5 point favorite in this game. Like I said, I'm taking Pitt in this game. I think that this defense is just too good for Syracuse. Just look out for a couple picks for Tommy DeVito. I know he sounds good on paper. Like you see that name Tommy DeVito and you're like, wow, that's like a third round draft pick, but he's probably not going to be that. If anything, if last week was any indication about how this week will pan out, then I've got Pitt. Now, you know what? If there's like a prop bet where it's over under like 1.5 interceptions, I'd go over. I think Pitt's good enough for that.
I think not even Pitt. I think just all you got to say, Paris Ford? That's the only name you have to say in terms of why that should go over. Paris Ford is that good. And, I'm actually kind of excited to see this matchup. I don't think Pitt covers the 22-point spread, Brandon. But it's not because of Syracuse's offense. You're right. Tommy DeVito, garbage. Syracuse's entire offense, put it in the garbage. But if there is a positive for Syracuse, that secondary is really good. And I don't think anyone could have watched last week's game and not said that Andre Sisco and Afatu Melifonwu are not good players. And yes, I cannot believe I said that name right, Brandon. I've been doing my job learning these names. But listen, the reason I'm excited to see this matchup is, Brandon, I'm still not completely sold on Kenny Pickett. I know you aren't either. I know that neither of us are completely sold. He had fun last week dominating Austin Peay. He had almost 300 yards passing, a touchdown. DJ Turner exploded on the scene last week as a wide receiver and target for Pickett. So I'm looking for him to step up. But Syracuse's secondary did not allow Sam Howell and those explosive wide receivers to go deep last week. Brandon, if you remember watching the game, I mean, they really picked Syracuse apart with the run game and the short pass game, the short quick pass game. And
Right.
I thought Syracuse's pass rush did pretty well against the UNC offensive line, especially in the first half. Andre Cisco, he's becoming one of my favorite players to watch. He graded out as one of the best secondary defenders last week, according to Pro Football Focus. Even picked off Sam Howell late in that first half. And then, I talked about Melifonwu earlier. I mean, he posted a 75 coverage grade according to PFF, and he actually was the cause. He was the one that popped the ball in the air for Howell's first interception. And so the big questions for me are, can Kenny Pickett keep the ball out of trouble? And can he continue to push the ball down the field and make big plays like he did last week? Because as not confident as I am in Syracuse, I think that defense is light years better than Austin Peay. Right. I don't think that's even a thing. But you said, man, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, I guess to add to that point, the Syracuse secondary is good. I don't want to call them great because they're not, but I mean they're good enough. I mean, we saw how they played against UNC. Zach just mentioned that. The only thing I'm worried about for this Pitt team is that most of their yards came in the air last week. I understand, they kind of spread the ball out on the ground. I mean, but their leading rusher had 43 yards. I get it. He had 2 touchdowns, but he only had 43 yards and 11 touches. So, yeah, I mean, Pitt's going to have to get it done in the air. And I guess this weekend we're just really going to see what Kenny Pickett's made of. The over-under on this game, I guess I'm just the gambling guy now. I don't really know. The over-under on this game is 50 points. It's 50 points. And if you choose the over, I mean, I should just call the police on you because you're a crazy person. You're probably a criminal. Go with the under on this matchup. I think it's going to be a defensive battle.
By far, I mean, and like expanding on your point earlier, this Syracuse offense is going to have their hands full because this Pitt defense is terrifying to say the least. And DeVito in this offensive line better come, lunches packed, bags, everything ready. I mean, Kalijah Cansey defensive line absolutely dominated last week, Brandon. He graded out over 90 by Pro Football Focus last week for this Pitt defensive line. And Cam Bright at linebacker, Paris Ford at safety, make the back end linebacking core no easier to prepare for. And I think I'm ready to say this, Brandon. I know we know somebody who's going to be real happy to hear this. I think Ford has an argument to be arguably one of the top 2-3 DBs in the country. I think he's that good.
Definitely.
And I think he's a surefire first-round NFL draft pick once he heads to the draft. And DeVito's got to get rid of the ball quickly because that defensive line is not going to give him much time. But if he throws an inaccurate, lazy pass, Paris Ford is literally all over the field. I really have a suspicion that Pitt's secondary are just 10 Paris Fords and one good defensive lineman that's rushing. That's what this Pitt team is. Paris Ford is all over the place, and he will make you pay if you start to get lazy and inaccurate with your throws. A 22-point spread shocked me here, but I think the Pitt defense is the reason this game isn't close. Brandon, I'm going with Pitt 27-10 over Syracuse this weekend.
I'm going to go with Pitt. I'm going to go 24, and they pitch a shutout, 24-0 Pitt. This defense is just too good. I think they're miles ahead of UNC's defense, who allowed only 6 points against Syracuse this weekend. So yeah, I think Pitt can for sure pitch the shutout.
Oh, you see, I like that though, because I really think the only reason they score, I think they get a pick 6 off of Pickett this week. I do. I think it might be late-ish or something like that, but I think Andre Cisco and Melifonwu are too good. But I don't have any faith in the offense. I think they get a late field goal maybe. But, yeah, you're right. That offense is horrible. But moving on to a game where offenses are a little bit better, we have Houston at Baylor. This game was scheduled, last Sunday? They scheduled this game in 12 hours once Baylor's opponent could not play. But we have Baylor as a 4-point favorite last time I looked. Brandon, your thoughts on this game? Because I feel like you want them to succeed, but you're a little skeptical right now.
I am. I mean, everyone heard not everyone. I hope that you heard my breakdown of the Big 12 schedule, mine and Zach's. I don't know. I mean, I think Baylor's a little bit better than a 4-point favorite over Houston.
That shocked me. That blew my mind when I was doing research for this game. I was either people are really high on Clayton Tune, the quarterback for Houston, or no one has any confidence in Dave Aranda. That's the only two things I could think of.
Oh, you don't have confidence in Dave Aranda, but you also don't have confidence in any of these Baylor players. I mean, Baylor returns a lot of talent. I understand they lost a little bit, but I mean, they're returning a lot of talent this season. 4 points is a little bit ridiculous, and I don't even know if that's the real spread. So Zach, 4.5 points. I mean, that's not much better.
No, that's horrible. I mean, you know what I really think it is, Brandon. So I say that Clayton Tune and Dave Aranda could be possibilities, but I think they finally realized this season is so unpredictable. We've seen so many teams that are better than others struggle early. So I think they're just taking a conservative approach to setting this line for this game.
Yeah, I don't know. I find that's so terrible, because who does Houston even have? You know, I know people were high on Houston last season when they had De'Aaron King, but this season, I mean,
they have Clayton Tune is the starting quarterback who played. I believe he was the starting quarterback last year after King opted out.
Okay, yeah, but how did? I mean, not that anyone really remembers the Houston Cougars season that well last year. After besides the talks about how what's his name? What's the coach's name? I know
Dana West
Virginia. Dana Holgorsen, after he was like, "Hey, sit out so we can redshirt you." No one talked about them for the rest of the season because they were awful. So I don't know. I mean, it's not like this Baylor offense. I mean, that's not what they're known for. They're known for their defense, and Dave Aranda is obviously one of the best defensive minds in college football. I don't know. 4.5 seems a little bit disrespectful in my opinion. And I think that Baylor does way better than that. You know, this Baylor defense is good, and especially the secondary. I mean, I don't know. I didn't do a whole lot of research on Houston's quarterback, but I mean,
I did. I got you.
Okay.
I got you. That was my big takeaway. This is going to be a feeding frenzy for this Baylor defense. Tune, the starting quarterback for Baylor, ranked 120th last year in turnover-worthy play rate last season.
But what kind of quarterback is he? Is he a pocket passer? Is he dual or what?
He's kind of like less athletic De'Aaron King and a way less accurate De'Aaron King.
Okay, so he's just going to throw a million interceptions against one of the best secondaries in college football. Okay.
Absolutely. I mean, Terrell Bernard, Riley Texaco, Caitlin Barnes, we've talked, Brandon, we could have an entire episode that we could probably cut up based on all the, stuff we've broken down with these three players. It's going to be brutal with these guys on the back end. And, Brandon, I think the biggest thing, I cannot believe no one's talking about this, and I'm going to watch Game Day Saturday, and if I don't hear someone say this, I'm going to lose my mind. How do you not trust Dave Aranda to put a young but athletic defense into the right scheme and the right position to pressure Tune and make him make bad decisions with the ball when you already know that's what he's prone to do? You're telling me you don't trust Dave Aranda to absolutely eat up a quarterback that is not accurate, that makes bad decisions with the ball, and that does not have a lot of starting experience? I think Dave Aranda and Brent Venables are the two best defensive coordinators in the country with that.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, let's look away at from the defense for just 1 second, and remember that Charlie Brewer is still on this Baylor team.
Yep.
I don't know. I don't know.
And they have Tyquan Thornton, who was the second leading receiver right behind Denzel Mims last year.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, it's not that I think Baylor's going to be the best team in the Big 12. I don't even think they're top 3. Zach would beg to differ, obviously, but I don't know. They're not going to lose to Houston. It's not even going to be a close game with Houston.
No, and Brandon, this is probably going to shock you. Only one defensive back for Houston has played over 200 snaps and has produced a positive WAA score, which is wins above average replacement.
Yeah, no, I mean, that's ridiculous.
They rank 126th in the entire country in terms of secondary production returning. So Charlie Brewer in this offense is going to eat. This defense is going to eat. And listen, I think the biggest thing for me, I have much more faith in Dave Aranda than I do in Dana Holgorsen, because if your team already quit on you in year one, I have no faith you're going to get it together in a year two. And the whole reason I have Baylor so high is I think Aranda's going to shock a lot of people this season. I absolutely think I have them ranked third right now. But if Baylor gets to the Big 12 championship, not one single part of me will be shocked. I think they're better than Texas. I think they're better. They're definitely better than Kansas State and Iowa State. We know that. And I think these teams will start sloppy, Brandon. So I wouldn't be surprised if this game was tied at halftime or Baylor might be down by 3. But I think they have too much on each side of the ball. I don't think Holgerson will have his team ready to play. Baylor pulling away late, 31-13 over Houston.
Yeah, that's a good score. That's actually very close to the score I had in mind. I'm going to go with Baylor 28, and they let's see. Houston might score 1 touchdown. Let's go 10. Let's go 28-10.
I like it. But guys, moving on to another team. Well, another 2 teams I have a lot of opinions on. We have South Florida at number 7 Notre Dame. Last time I looked, Notre Dame was a 26-point favorite. And listen, Brandon, I'm going to start this one off because I have a quick, aside here. Will I ever pick South Florida again? Just a spoiler?
No.
Absolutely not. Because in case you weren't around, on our very first episode, I decided to be a man. I picked USF to upset Wisconsin last year. They got beat like 63-0.
Yeah.
So I am not going to do that again. So now go ahead, Brandon, break this one down for us.
I mean, it's just free money if you take my picks, because I could have told you. As a matter of fact, I did tell you that USF were frauds last season. And guess what they are this season? Also frauds. Yeah, bigger frauds, really. And they're playing against Notre Dame. Is 26 points enough for this game, Zach? I know I just spent in the last segment just repeating the word disrespectful. I might do the same thing here because 26 is a lot, but I mean they might actually deserve that spread. South Florida's bad. They're really, 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 really bad. And Notre Dame is, there's no reallys here. They're just good. I don't know. You don't think they're good?
Man, I am not super confident in Notre Dame. If we repick the ACC this year, I would have no problem putting Louisville above them too.
You don't have to be super confident. You just have to think that they're good. You don't think they're good?
Right. I think they're all right, especially after losing Kyle Hamilton to injury. I think that defense, that was a huge loss, and they have other players banged up that may or may not be available this weekend. I already said I'm not picking USF, so that's not where I'm going with this. I'm just saying down the road, I am not confident in Notre Dame's ability to compete for the ACC. I mean, Ian Book's inconsistency and a lack of explosive play, huge problems. I think with the talent around him, he should be so much better. He is reminding me of Jake Fromm right now.
Which Jake Fromm are we talking about?
We're talking about Jake Fromm last year with all the talent in the world and could not finish. And, like I said, Hamilton's hurt, a handful of injuries for the Fighting Irish. And I'm not super confident in Notre Dame in terms of anything. And if we redid our ACC predictions, I have no doubt that I would at least put Louisville ahead of them. And I think I haven't seen Virginia Tech play, but I would. If we were picking Virginia Tech Notre Dame, I'd pick Virginia Tech to beat Notre Dame.
Wow, I mean that's just a bad take, and I'm going to hold you to that, Zach. So when we pick that game, remind me.
You can hold it, but I already said I haven't seen Virginia Tech play, but right now I have a feeling they're going to be better. They're going to be more consistent. I mean, until I see Ian Book win a game, I have no confidence in him winning the biggest games on their schedule. I mean, that Clemson game is going to be brutal for this Notre Dame team if they don't get it together.
Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, I think we always knew that one was going to be brutal, but yeah.
I mean, and listen, USF, okay, their offense is where I really don't like them, but their defense isn't terrible. They're really athletic. They have playmaking ability. They have actually, Brendan, a top 40 defense in the country. And it's led by UNC transfer KJ Sales at cornerback, Nick Roberts at safety, Mike Hampton at CB. I mean, Brandon, Sales ranked 3rd in the ACC in coverage grade, and Roberts is a lot like Javon Holland. He can play any spot in the secondary. And then Hampton, 2018, last year, he was a little banged up, didn't play very well, but he ranked 5th in the entire country in incompletion rate in 2018. So I think these three guys are going to be elite on the back end, and they're going to make Ian Book play a good game. And I think that the run game for Notre Dame is going to be a real factor, which is why they pulled away. That offensive line is too good. I don't think the defensive line for USF is very good. But, Brandon, they have the worst wide receiver unit ranking in the entire country.
Yeah, do they really?
Yes, USF. Last week, their top wide receiver had 3 catches for 36 yards.
That's insane.
I mean, how bad do you have to be for that to be your leading receiver?
I mean, really bad.
I mean, and Brandon, they played the Citadel.
That's crazy. That should.
The Citadel.
I don't even know what to say.
The Citadel guys, and they have 100. They're ranked 104th in offensive rating. Kelly Joyner's okay at running back. He's decent, but I don't think he's going to be able to create as much as he did last week, where he averaged 10 yards a rush against this Notre Dame front seven. Listen, Notre Dame and Ian Book are going to be tested a little bit, but I don't think USF can score enough to keep it competitive. So I have Notre Dame 52-17, but those losses are coming because I don't trust them down the road.
You built that up way too much for.
Well, I already said, bro,
17.
Bro, USF is trash. If they were playing anybody else, if they were playing an ACC team, no confidence in Notre Dame.
Fair. Okay. Well, 52. That's insane. Okay. I'm gonna go with 42 to 3. I just don't believe
that's
that USF.
tough.
I don't believe that they have an offense. I honestly do not know if they have a quarterback on this team. Not that I don't mean like a good quarterback. I just mean like I don't know if they actually have a quarterback. I don't know anything. I don't know the first thing about South Florida. So yeah, you said they had the worst wide receiving core in the nation.
They do.
I'll believe you. I believe you. They scored 3 points. There's one decent player on the team. It's the kicker.
Hopefully, right? I mean, watch, they're going to have Alabama's transfer kicker. He's going to doink it off the right upright. It's going to be a whole thing. Yeah. But, guys, let's move on to, I think it's going to be the second best game of the entire weekend. And I know that sounds
you're crazy.
Absolutely insane. We got number 14, UCF, Central Florida, at Georgia Tech. And UCF is only a 7.5-point favorite. And, Brandon, this may sound crazy, but I am clearing my schedule for this game because I actually think it's going to be a really good game.
Do you?
Yes. Okay. Listen. Georgia Tech's going to have all the momentum in the entire world going their way. They won an ACC game for the first time in 2 years, and they have UCF coming in to their home stadium. UCF is looking to start a new streak, make a comeback for the AAC title, but Georgia Tech is riding high. And listen, they have proven me to be a liar about their potential, and I'm ready to accept my fate for Georgia Tech in this 2020 season.
See, Zach, this is going to be. I mean, this is just you're going to get your heart broken. I'm sad for you because you're going to have another USF Wisconsin moment in this game because there's no chance Georgia Tech wins.
I haven't even picked my thing. I just said it was going to be close. I didn't say Georgia Tech was going to win. I just said they're going to be more competitive than people would think.
Zach, I don't know. I think you have to choose Georgia Tech now. I mean, I'm not saying we have to fix the podcast, but I think we got to fix this game. I think you got to pick Georgia Tech.
Okay, listen, I'm not gonna lie here. I have a score prediction written down. It's a 1-score game. I have it blank. I still don't know who I want to pick because I really, really, really want to pick Georgia Tech. I really do.
For anyone who's worried that he might not, I'm going to talk him into it. It's going to be the best.
It's like this is like you with your LSU Alabama pick last year. Like you had it blank until the second you picked it.
I did, and
because you didn't want to jinx them.
I didn't want to jinx them, and I didn't jinx them, but I did choose them. So that's I guess I'm not a heel. I'm not a mush.
You're not a mush.
No.
I feel like we need to spice up our picks, man. We've been matching a lot.
Well, we haven't had any really, really good games yet, Zach. I mean, sorry to South Alabama and Tulane if you think that was a really, really good game. Sorry to anyone who's a fan of those two programs. I don't know. We just haven't had a great game yet, Zach. we haven't had. I mean, and we're getting to it. I think this last game that we're picking after this one is going to be one that we might differ on. It's a really good game, but up to now, what great game have we had?
That's true. I mean, hey, Navy BYU was pretty good. I mean,
yeah, we picked W on that one.
Yeah, but okay. Well, listen.
That wasn't even a pick six, Zach. It was not a pick six.
But listen, I'm a Jeff Sims believer now. I think he's going to be a huge part of this Georgia Tech turnaround in the future. I mean, 270 yards passing last week, a touchdown, was the leading rusher with 64 rushing yards. I need to see Jordan Mason at running back help him out a bit. I'm looking for Malachi Carter, Jalen Camp to do more at the wide receiver position because UCF has actually a really good defense. And I need to see a little bit more. And UCF is looking to start the season with another upset of a Power 5 team in Atlanta. The Auburn beatdown in 2017 is still fresh, and at least in my brain, I have nightmares about it every night. But like Brandon, I think we're both excited about this guy. Dylan Gabriel's back. He's ready to build on an outstanding season. I mean, Brandon, he ranked 4th in the entire country in turnover-worthy play rates at 1.6%. But on the flip side, ranked 1st in 30-plus yard big-time throws. So he was taking risks, throwing it down the field, but keeping it out of trouble.
Zach wants to talk about Sam Howell all the time. I'm gonna start talking about this kid all the time because they had very similar stats last season, Zach. Dylan Gabriel.
The blasphemy. The blasphemy.
What? Okay, go pull up Sam Howell's stats right now. Go pull up his stats.
No, I get it. But, okay, no. Sam Howell played ACC teams, was 1 point away from knocking off Clemson. UCF lost to Pitt.
Pitt's an ACC team. And and UNC lost to Pitt, too.
Whatever. It's all good. It's all good. Just go ahead. Talk Dylan Gabriel. I know you want to. See, he's not on Sam Howell's level.
This is what happens when I prove a point to Zach. So, congrats.
It happens. It happens once every blue moon, guys. It was bound to happen.
Moron. What an idiot. Dylan Gabriel had 3,653 yards passing last season, 29 touchdowns and only 7 interceptions. I mean, that is eerily similar to Sam Howell's stats. I don't remember Sam Howell's stats by memory because I know that you do. So let's hear. I mean, do you have any stats for Sam Howell? I know they're in your notes if you don't have them off the top of your head because you love this kid. You probably have them.
I do.
You probably have them printed out and posted on your wall. Like you have this
I almost made us cover North Carolina and I forgot who they're playing. I think it's like the Citadel this week or something. We almost covered that game. But Sam Howell had 30. Goodness. Yeah, 3,600 yards passing, 38 touchdowns, and 7 interceptions.
So you're telling me that Dylan Gabriel had more yards passing, only like 12 more yards passing. He had a few less touchdowns, but we don't have to talk about that very much. And he had the same amount of interceptions, is what I'm hearing.
Yeah, but touchdowns count more than pass yards.
Okay, well. Zach. Well, what was UNC's final record last year? Let's talk about records.
It's like 8-5, I think, if I remember right. It was 8-5.
I don't really know why I brought that up because I don't know UCF's final record last season. But
you are really not on point today, bro.
Okay, 10-3. They were 10-3 last season. 10-3 last season in the AAC. And Zach, you're the first one to say the AAC. I'm pretty sure on this podcast you said the AAC should be in the Power 5 over the ACC. I'm pretty sure that was you.
No. The Pac-12. The Pac-12.
Okay, but still, I mean, you're acting like the ACC's miles and miles ahead of the AAC in terms of performance. I mean, come on. You can't. How are we going to do this? We can't keep doing this.
It's fine. I mean, no, I get it. I mean, listen, I still think Sam Howell's a better quarterback than Dylan Gabriel, but Dylan Gabriel, I mean, was really good last year, and so was Sam Howell. But I still think Sam Howell's a better quarterback. I mean, can you watch the film and tell me Dylan Gabriel's a better quarterback than Sam Howell?
I never claimed that he was. I'm just saying that you didn't talk about him at all. We should not be comparing these two, but I had to compare it to make a point.
You did catch me off guard with the whole UNC losing to Pitt in overtime. It caught me completely off guard on that one.
Yeah, people forget, but it happened. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like we've been on this game for way longer than we should be.
It's all good. I mean, you listen, guys. UCF ranks top 30 in the country for every positional unit except wide receivers and offensive line. But they did have 15 players that opted out, which included 2 starters in Tay Godwin and Kalia Davis, who are huge losses for the defense. And Brandon, there's plenty of storylines to follow. Jeff Collins was a former UCF assistant before he moved on to be working his way to a head coach. And UCF is going for their 36th win in the past 40 games, Brandon. That's outrageous. And Brandon, did you know this? Georgia Tech's 3-0 against UCF. So can the Black Knights beat the Yellow Jackets for the first time ever? All 3 wins have come in Bobby Dodd Stadium in Atlanta.
Yeah. See, the thing that people don't realize is that UCF wasn't good until like 2016. Before that, they were like 0-12 every year. So I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. So Zach, I'm going to go ahead and give you my pick. I don't have anything else to say about this one. I think UCF comes out and they win this game pretty big. I know you said it's going to be a 1-score game. I think it's UCF 42, Georgia Tech 21.
That's decent. But listen, I have an idea of who I'm going to pick. It's not going to be Georgia Tech. I know Brandon wanted it more than anything. And listen, I do think Dylan Gabriel is going to be too much for this Georgia Tech secondary. Jeff Sims probably won't be able to keep up in that regard. But I have it way closer. Brandon, I have this game being 27-24 UCF.
A field goal? You're only going with a field goal here.
Yeah, just a single field goal. I think it's going to be close. I think UCF's going to come out slow, rusty. They're playing their first game. Georgia Tech just came off an emotional win. They're in shape. They're ready to go. They got all the momentum. So I think it's going to be a lot closer because of that. If this was UCF's second game, Georgia Tech's first game, or both their second games, I think your score would be much more in tune of how good these teams really are.
I don't know. I think this is just a case of our dumb brains tricking us into thinking that Georgia Tech might be good because they beat Florida State, who's a pretty bad team.
That's true. But, guys, we're going to stick in the ACC here. We got one more game. We have number 17, Miami, at number 18, Louisville. Louisville's a 2.5-point favorite. And, Brandon, I want to start with this. Am I the only one that was shocked that Miami was higher ranked than Louisville?
Oh, no. I'm still in shock. I still don't even know what to say about that.
Louisville, dating back to last year, Brendan, their last 5 games, Louisville's 4-1 with 2 wins over SEC teams. Miami is 3-2 with losses to Louisiana Tech, Duke, and Florida International.
No, that should not be allowed.
And Miami was 6-7, lost their best defensive player in Gregory Rousseau, lost their starting running back in DJ Dallas, and yes, they upgraded the quarterback position, but an upgrade from what they had last year was not very high. While Louisville was 8-5 and returned probably arguably all their top 5 players, maybe even you could say top 8.
Yeah,
it's just, I don't know, man. And, last week, Miami coming off of a win over UAB, it was De'Aaron King's debut. Brandon, we both gave him a B+ in his performance, but I still need to see a bit more through the air. He did only have 144 yards passing, 2 total touchdowns, but I want to see him push the ball down the field. I want to see him get some of these young receivers. I need to see him build that confidence for them early and often this week. And if they don't, I think Miami could get massacred in this game.
I don't know, man, because they're really, it's crazy that, we talked about them losing DJ Dallas, and then last week they still had, how many yards rushing do they have? They had 337.
Yeah, and Cameron Harris had 134 and 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, that's insane. So they're definitely going to get it done on the ground. I'd love to see him get it done in the air, but the ground attack is lethal.
Yeah, and but I think the thing is Louisville's defense is going to be so much better than UAB. So this is going to be the first real challenge for Harris, King, and this entire Miami Hurricanes offense. And Rhett Lashley is going to have to put a lot more work in to get the win this week than they did last week. And on the flip side, Brandon, I mean, Louisville didn't look spectacular last week against Western Kentucky. I'm not going to lie there. You could tell they were rusty, but you could tell in the second half they started to get it to click. And Tutu Atwell last week, impressive showing, 7 catches for 78 yards. But Brandon, the big story last week is we've talked about all the weapons that this Louisville offense has. Well, Braden Smith and Des Fitzpatrick broke out last week and put on an outstanding performance. They've combined for 8 catches for 220 yards and a touchdown, Brandon. And these were just the wide receiver 2 and 3s on this offense. So you're telling me they can go 3 deep at wide receiver. You have Javian Hawkins at running back, and they have Mikael Cunningham at quarterback. That is a ridiculous amount of firepower for this Louisville offense.
Right. I don't know, man. This game's so tough for me to pick. So Louisville is a 2.5 point favorite in this game. But, man, that's like the worst spread, by the way. 2.5 points. If you lose by less than 2.5, I mean, good on you, but that's tough to do, right?
Yeah, and I mean it's almost like they wanted it to be a pick'em game, but they wanted to make money off of it.
So there is a chance that it's a 1 point game. That happens sometimes. So, and somebody's just dumb enough to choose. Someone's just dumb enough to go with that. Go pick that 1 point win. So, and that's probably gonna be me.
It's gonna be you.
It's probably gonna be me. I don't know.
But look, Mikael Cunningham last week, not really spectacular, but the offense was vanilla, just like we kind of saw with De'Aaron King. I mean, he got a 61 grade for PFF, which is not super impressive. He had over 340 yards passing and 3 touchdowns, though. But Brandon, the matchup I want to see is this Louisville front 7 against De'Aaron King and this Miami offensive line.
Right.
This is 2 weaknesses going up against each other. Louisville's pass rush, 106th to start the season, but Miami's offensive line, 108th to start the season. So last week, Brandon, against 2 lower-ranked teams, Louisville only had 2 players in their front 7 that graded over 70 from Pro Football Focus, while Miami had 2 O-linemen that graded out over 80 in pass blocking, but only 1 that graded over a 70 in run blocking. So neither team has a lot of players up front that do a lot of great things. And the questions for me, Brandon, and this is going to determine who wins it, is can Louisville make King uncomfortable in the pocket? Will they be able to stop Cameron Harris and put the game on King's back? And then can De'Aaron King make enough plays with his legs to set up the pass game down the field against a really good Louisville secondary? And I think that all boils down to who's the better quarterback and who has better skill players. I think Cunningham is the better quarterback of the 2. I think Louisville has way, way, way better skill players in every aspect of whatever side of the ball you want to talk about. And I also have much more confidence in Louisville's defensive line than I do in Miami's offensive line. So I think that's going to be a big storyline. I have Louisville here, Brandon, 34-24 over the Miami Hurricanes.
Oh, you think it's a 10-point game? Oh man, this is so tough. I know that in my ACC predictions, I have Louisville ranked so high.
You have third, bro.
So high. I'm gonna go with Miami in this game. I'm gonna spice things up, Zach. I'm going with Miami. I think Miami wins this game. Let's go 34-31. I think it's a close game.
Boy,
man, I want to see De'Aaron King do it. I mean, I'm rooting for fun here. And I'm going with my gut. I think that Miami can pull this one off. I think Louisville's a good team, and I think they're going to get it done down the road. But I think they lose this. Week 2 matchup. I just think this ground game is too good from what I saw last week, and that's not even what we thought was going to be good out of Miami. What we thought was going to be good was De'Aaron King, and I mean, I know they looked very vanilla last week, Zach, but. You think they really unveiled everything a week before they played Louisville? I don't think so.
Not a chance.
Miami's going to come out and they're going to edge this game out for sure.
Boo. But
Lock
okay,
it
hey,
in.
I'll take the lead and pick 6. I'm cool with that. So good deal there. We're gonna end this episode with a shorter segment, not a 45-minute segment on picking games, but we had a huge announcement that was leaked yesterday on Tuesday, but was made official today on Wednesday. The Big Ten finally announced they will reverse their decision on a fall 2020 college football season and play. They're going to play. Brandon's excited. I'm excited. I know you're excited. They're going to play an 8+1 schedule, which will include 8 straight conference regular season games. And then on championship week, we're going to have the normal Big Ten championship game of the top-ranked teams in each division, but each team will play the other team in the other division that finished in the same position. This means that 2 will play 2, 3 will play 3, 4 will play 4, etc., all the way down through the Big Ten. So, Brandon, your take on this plan, and are you giving Kevin Warren a pass now?
No, I will never forgive him for what he's done. The only reason that they're playing is because the public was like, "Hey, you gotta play." Everyone else is playing except for the Pac-12, and who cares about them? So, dude, I'm so glad that we have football back, like actual football back. The only thing we won't have this season is Pac-12 after dark, but in my heart, I'll find a way to replace that. I guess we also don't have Maction, which is kind of a bummer, but. We do have Big Ten football, and you know what's even more important than that, Zach, is that this season is going to continue. I believe championship weekend is going to be December 19th for the Big Ten, if I'm not mistaken. You know how many snow games we're going to get out of the Big Ten this year?
Every single game will be a snow game, unless it's in Nebraska.
Oh, well, fair. I don't know, man. I could not be more excited. I'm so glad now they are starting a little bit later than I would have hoped. I was kind of hoping for like October 10th kickoff, like we'd seen out of Twitter user Sir Yacht. Zach, have you seen this guy on Twitter? He's just putting things out there. Like he has no information. He's like if I decided to be an insider one day and just started tweeting things out that he hopes would happen. So yeah, I mean we're getting football. So when's kickoff? I'm sorry, I know it's October
24th. October 24th.
I'm so we have a little bit over a month for Big Ten football. That's fine.
Yes.
I'll make do without the Big Ten, and I can just focus on SEC football for a full month before that. That's fine by me. I don't know, man. I've been rooting for football, and we're getting football, so I feel like I won.
You did win. And listen, this analogy came to me as soon as I saw the announcement where the Big Ten, they came running back home like the 5-year-old who tried to run away. He made a big decision. It was too much for them to make that decision, and now he's knocking on the door, hoping his parents let him back in. Kevin Warren was that 5-year-old. He avoided all and any questions and avoided all accountability for his horrible premature decision. And more on him later. But Brandon, each game is going to be played on campus without fans, and only parents and close family of players and coaches are going to be allowed in the stadium. I'm fine with this, but I would have liked to see 10 to 15%. I mean, make it super low, but at least let some people in. But, I'm willing to make a sacrifice. I even said on the podcast, if it was no fans allowed, that's fine. I just want college football. And I don't know how you feel, Brian. I mean, even the games last week, the fans really didn't play that much of a thing for me, right? I mean,
No.
I don't think it took away from the quality of the play. I don't think it took away quality of the broadcast. I thought it was still perfectly fine. It was college football, and I watched games from 11 a.m. when they kicked off all the way until the last game where we saw Coastal Carolina decimate Kansas.
Yeah, no, I'm right there with you. Man, I don't know. I don't think the fans play a huge factor unless you're in an environment like Death Valley or the Swamp, and even then, I mean, they play a factor. But come on, I mean, you just have to be glad that we have football, and I don't think that is going to make a big difference for Maryland not having fans. I guess Ohio State or Michigan could be teams that would suffer from not having fans, but I don't think it's going to be like a big deal. I really don't. I don't know. I mean, we saw the quality of football that we thought we would see this past weekend. I think we're going to continue to see that.
Absolutely. And you guys, remember a few episodes ago when I talked about that new rapid testing feature being rolled out? Well, guess what? The Big Ten cited new testing as the main reason that the stance has changed. So, I feel like I was on the cutting edge of that, Brandon, and I think it's the right thing for the Big Ten to do. I mean, players, coaches, fans deserve to see their teams play football this fall. And how do you tell your players to sit back and watch the ACC, the Big 12, the SEC play week after week and go possibly win a national title while your kids are sitting at home? That's brutal. I think recruiting played a big part of this. And Brandon, to wrap up this episode, I know anybody who has been listening with us throughout this off season, throughout all this craziness, and we seem to be almost through it, but this is the last time we're going to mention his name on this podcast, and that's Mr. Kevin Warren, Mr. Big Ten Commissioner. And Brandon, I listened to his interview today on the Big Ten Network, and listen, I am even less impressed with him, and I want him fired immediately. Brandon, listen to this. He's going to hold the Big Ten back year after year. I mean, he was asked about his lack of communication with parents, and this is what he had to say, Brandon. He said, from a communication standpoint, what I tried to do personally and what we tried to do collectively is to make sure that we had things to communicate and that we did communicate. Really, Brandon?
Yeah.
What did they communicate?
Not once.
Not a single thing? Not one single thing.
I guess they communicated that they wouldn't be playing, but that was like the only thing. They didn't tell us why. They were just like, all right, we're not playing. And we're like, okay.
Right.
Well.
I mean, I have a list of 4 things that have been great. Can you give us the data that the decision was based on? Not the false report out of a Michigan research guy who just lost all credibility in research because he published a false study. How about the plans to take care of the players when you eventually did return? How about the plan for this supposed 2021 spring season that you were going to put on? And can you give us reasons why the protocols that were already in place were not enough to protect the players like they were in the SEC? The ACC, the Big 12. And Brandon, this is what makes me so mad. He continues and says, a lot of the criticism that has been displayed over the past couple months, I take it as that we're just passionate in the Big Ten, that we have passionate student athletes, that we have passionate families, and that we have passionate fans. But did he show 1 ounce of care, empathy, or anything for these passionate, quote unquote, athletes, fans, or families? I mean, Brandon, wasn't there a whole lawsuit from these families that he are calling passionate because they felt so silenced that they planned to march to the Big Ten headquarters to make a statement?
Yeah, I mean, if I recall correctly, yes.
Man, I'm going to end it fairly right here because I don't want to go too far. But Brandon, this isn't just passionate individuals being blinded by their passion for the game. I mean, it was individuals in power putting their bottom line in terms of money, their ego and perception in front of these people that they're just, passing off as passionate. He doesn't deserve the job of the Big Ten commissioner. And the big thing, Brandon, I don't know how much you pay attention to Twitter. I am so tired of these very same experts, quote unquote experts, who crucified him. They changed their tune all of a sudden because it all worked out. But yes, it might have just happened to work out in the long run, but the SEC, ACC, Big 12 took all these bullets, aka criticism, for continuing on believing that in their universities, players, and coaches and their protocols. They took criticism from everybody. You had Max Kellerman sitting up on First Take calling people from the South idiots and subject to false news. And you had all these people saying that they were putting kids in danger and that they should be held accountable and this and that. So why does the Big Ten just get to stroll up after 95% of the hard work was done and say, you see, we just wanted to wait to make sure it was okay, but we're going to let all these other people take all the criticism and we're just going to stroll up behind them. I mean, Brandon, I really want to put this in our Twitter bio. It is #fire Kevin Warren. It's that season. It's in full effect. And this is a hill that I will argue with anyone any time about. This is the hill I'm going to die on. And listen, we're going to end this episode with #fire Kevin Warren. If you listen, just go put it out there because we need to get this dude fired because this was ridiculous. But Brandon, we're going to wrap up this episode here. Man, guys, we have big announcements. I really want to tell y'all. I haven't asked Brandon, so I'm not going to say anything, but we have big announcements coming for next Saturday. I cannot wait. It'll probably be on the Monday episode, so tune in to hear that. Check us out on our website, thebluebloodspod.com. You can find links to all our episodes. We submitted to Amazon today, so we'll let y'all know when we're approved on that front. We have articles coming. Guys, I have plans. I'm going to write top performing articles, winners and losers articles. We have more articles coming on the way. We've been slacking on that, but we're going to get that fixed for y'all. Again, episodes every week. SEC and now, I guess, Big Ten preview are coming soon. Update you guys on that Monday. You can find us on Instagram at @_Bluebloods, Twitter at @_Bluebloods, Facebook at the Bluebloods Pod. You can also find us at theworsttakenetwork.net. As you guys remember, we joined the Worst Take Network, so go find them on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram, all that good stuff. We appreciate all you guys listening. Keep subscribing, rating, listening to the podcast, man. You guys make this worth it. This has been over a year. Cannot believe we're in our second season of the Blue Bloods. But yeah, we appreciate all of y'all. We're going to keep dropping episodes for y'all, but for right now, we out.